Warning: sensitive content.
During a conference on Friday, June 3rd, 2022, our most cherished Supreme Master Ching kindly shared some good news from current happenings, as she also gave her insights on questions and more good news delivered by Supreme Master television team members.
I have some good news for you.
That's good. Please share it with us, Master.
Even though it's all commercial, but it's better than nothing. Like Macron, he called for Russia to free the Ukrainian crowd, meaning the prisoner of war. POW. He and another president, I forgot the other one. And Angela Merkel,
Yes, Master.
the ex-chancellor of Germany, after all these decades of silence, now she called the war in Russia barbaric. Yeah. And the P. Francis asked Russia to open the port of the Black Sea.
Wow.
Called Russia to open it so that people can transport their food.
Yes, Master.
Yeah, because everybody is hungry. In Africa, they're short of this, they're short of that.
Yes,
Master. Yes.
They keep calling the world for help. And the war is also short.
Yeah,
Yes.
true.
Because the war in Ukraine affects everything, not just Ukraine,
Right.
Yes,
right.
Master.
not just Europe, but it affects also Central America and Africa.
Right. Yes.
And it affects me.
Yes.
Yes, Master.
Yeah, and affects Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
People are scared, in Taiwan.
Yes.
They worry that something like Ukraine could happen to them.
Yes, Master. Yes.
And that scary atmosphere around the world also scares me. Makes me sleepless.
Yeah.
Well, I told you these good news, they were just commercials, but better than the opposite news, right?
Yes,
Master.
Yes, Master.
Better than saying the opposite.
Right.
Yes, Master.
At least outwardly they show some humane character,
That's right.
Yes, Master.
even though it's just commercial. You will know why later on, perhaps. Maybe you know already from Miss Frau Angela Merkel, because she is planning to go back into the limelight.
Wow.
So it's time to say something humane, huh?
Yes,
I see.
That's how it is commercial. And P. Francis has been beaten enough, so he says something also. Instead of screaming from the beating, he just says something. And Macron calling Russia to free the prisoner of war. Oh, these things are impossible. just inquire for looking good, just to look good. But he knows very well Russia doesn't just set free the prisoner of war like that. 2,000 something from the Azov region.
Yes,
Right.
Master.
They even call them terrorists. How do you think they're going to just let them go?
Right, Master.
Yeah.
Even if they let them go, they have to have a price.
Yes.
Yes,
Master.
Master.
Exchange prisoners or have some condition or something. It will cost Ukraine something.
Right.
That's true.
Yes.
Yes.
It's good to say something good.
Yes, Master.
People will think, oh, good guy, good boy, huh? I hope they change their hearts.
Yes.
Master.
Not just commercial, because God will see to it.
Right. Yes.
If you're good to others, God will be good to you.
That's right.
Yes, Master.
Just now I give you so many good news. I hope you give me something back quickly.
Russia has agreed that Turkey can help demine the ports to enable cargo ships to leave if Ukraine agrees not to disrupt the Russian Navy, as they have accused Ukraine of mining the port. So that Russia's foreign minister will go to Turkey on the 8th of June for talks on this issue of opening a security corridor that also includes shipping of wheat in the Black Sea.
Yeah, my God. Yeah, they just say things, blaming Ukraine for putting mines there. How does Ukraine even swim over there with Russia all over? Huh?
Right,
Yes,
Master.
that's true.
Right.
Russia has taken the whole region there with the Crimea knit together already.
Yeah.
It's about 1/5 of Ukraine that they took away. And all linked together from Crimea. You see all that sea area, all that seafront ports?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even if Russian ships did not go in anymore, it's all Russia. All Russia backed. You see, for Russia. So
Yeah.
how can Ukraine even sneak in there and put some mines there? My God, lah.
That's true. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, you don't need to wonder. You ask a 5-year-old kid, and he'll tell you. But of course, I'm not an army militant or a general, colonel, or even lieutenant. But these are logical things.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Yes, Master.
You look at the map; it's all red there.
Yeah.
Yes.
How can Ukraine even go to Turkey? Put mines in the sea or wherever.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
It's like the ostrich. People, they put their head in the sand, and the whole body is wagging outside, and nobody will see it. Yeah, just like you go in the desert, you cover your ears and you shout very loud, and the houses in the desert don't hear you. Because you cover your ears, you don't hear yourself. My God, Putin is dead. And so now this Lavrov went all over the world, and he went to Arab countries and explained, all kinds of things. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go to Arab countries to explain that we could not open the seaport because of Ukraine mines.
Yes.
Ukraine couldn't get anywhere near there.
Right.
If he walks out of Ukraine, then it's a Russian border already.
Yes, Master.
And all the seaport areas are now controlled by Russia. Well, to Ukraine to even use some invisible clock or something and carry some invisible mines, yeah? And fly in some invisible drones and and dig in some invisible holes and then putting some invisible mines in there. Yeah. And cover the whole area invisibly, so that nobody can see them digging. Oh, that's a good joke. And the mines in the sea, by a very strange coincidence, are all made in Russia. And they blame Ukraine for putting them there.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see that Lavrov looks very miserable now.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Perplexed and kind of occupied in his head. And the tone is not threatening anymore, but it's kind of pleading, almost like apologetic. Yeah, because his boss is gone now. He's lost. Oh, man, you are the king of a big country, and now you just lay in the cold, icy space, maybe 2.5 meters wide, like everybody else.
Yes.
In the morgue,
Yes,
Yes.
Master.
Master.
like everybody else, like a street sweeper.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about you anymore. Even after you die, you leave headaches to your subordinates to take care of. Now you mess it up, man. All right, I'm telling you, why don't they ever learn this kind of lesson that life is ephemeral? Nobody takes anything with them after they're gone to the other side.
Yes, that's right.
Oh my God, lah. Okay, anything else?
President Zelensky has announced 50 embassies have resumed operations in Kyiv. And he also said every new embassy that returns to our capital is a testament to the faith in our victory.
Okay. I hope they will not feel too confident yet. Because sometimes when you keep winning, then you become too overconfident, and then you will lose.
Yes,
They
Master.
always have to keep their low level of confidence, just enough to continue, but not to be arrogant and too overconfident. Yeah, I'm glad the world comes back to show Ukraine the unity and support. It would be best if they let them join the EU and NATO immediately. That would be the best unification up front.
Yes.
Okay, and next one?
Okay, so the first question is, the former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger also suggests that Zelensky should give some land up for Russia so that there can be peace between the two nations. But we think this is not right.
No, you're
Master,
right.
what do you think?
You're right, not right. Because they never stop. Originally, they could not take Kyiv. They wanted to take the whole country.
Yes.
And they lost. But then they have the Donbas, two regions, Luhansk and Donetsk. So they use that as a stepping stone. That's a backup.
Yes,
And
Master.
then now they're winning more over there. Just because they have these two bases to back them up.
Right.
Yes.
They could go there and have a base and maybe have food
Yes, Master.
and take a rest and can be more regrouped and take more weapons.
Yes, Master.
And they continue to attack more regions in Donbass. And they keep winning a couple of pockets here and there.
Yes.
Yes, Master.
Ukrainian towns and cities are falling to Russia's advance. Russia has the momentum in the east, and Russian troops are just a mile from the village of Siversk. Lubov has been working in the shop for 20 years.
Вот. И очень хочется, чтобы это все быстрее кончилось. Но это было просто ужасно, то, что с нами случилось. Мы не понимаем. Страшно нам жить в таких условиях. Очень страшно каждую минуту. Боимся прилетов, боимся за родных и близких, боимся не дожить до победы. Мы хотим дожить до победы.
And Ukraine has been somehow weakened for now, but maybe the tide will change soon because they will have more different weapons that are more helpful.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I never liked all this fighting and weapons. But I don't know what's wrong with Kissinger. There's nothing good about him anyway. He has done a lot more harm than good during his career.
Oh.
And now he still wants to do more harm. Who asked his opinion? He's 90-something already, right? Who asked his senile brain? Huh? Even the first lady of Ukraine also told him off. You don't need a man. No need for you even to say anything. Even a woman knows better. Even if President Zelensky wants to give, he has to ask his people, no?
Yes.
Yes, right.
And even if Russia makes a fake conference or referendum to prove that the people there want to stay with Russia, even then everybody knows that it's outright a robbery.
Yes.
Yes, Master.
This sends a terrible message to the world, like, okay, you just amass a lot of weapons, and your country gets bigger and bigger, and you just go anywhere, storm in, and then kill women, kill children, kill anybody inside to terrify people, and then you get more land.
Yeah, true.
Isn't that a good thing to do?
No,
No,
Master.
Master.
To support?
No.
No, Master.
Yeah, only stupid people would do that.
Right.
I mean, if there's no other way at all, if worse comes to worse, then maybe it happened, but it's not like you encourage somebody to cut off a piece of his body to give it to a robber so that he becomes at peace.
Yes, Master.
Take all your money, your bank account, everything, credit card, give it all to him. And he will leave you alone? No, you come back. Because he's too good.
Right. Yes.
Right.
And even if he doesn't come back to you because he robbed everything he wants from you already, he go to the neighbors or the other town or the other state and do the same thing because he's successful. It makes him rich and everybody cowers in front of him.
Yes,
Yes,
right.
What kind of talk is that? Only stupid people. But I'm telling you, he's one of those in the black dot.
Wow.
I told you, you have to know what they say. You have to see what they say, what they do, whom they support. Then you know they are in the black dot or the white dot, or black region or white region.
Right.
Yes.
Shame that America has to have such a son like him. After all this terrorism from Russia, after they rape and kill children and women, even boys are raped by Russians, only 11 years old, and still utter such nonsense.
Yeah.
If you cannot help it, just shut up. As I have told many times already. If you can't say anything good to comfort people, then just shut up.
Sure.
Nobody has his opinion. He's an ex already.
Yes, Master.
Ex and old.
Right.
The combination of the two is no good for saying anything. It's very very good for shutting up. Okay. His history is very bad anyway. If you want to read it, I don't recommend it. You will feel like puking. You will puke. Ugh, one of the black dots that contributes to that black spot in the white area of the Tao symbol.
Yeah.
These people, they're just so ambitious all the time. They can't just stay out of the limelight. Even if they say something bad, just to get attention.
Yeah.
Like against everybody, sticking out like a sore thumb.
Right.
Without shame, as long as they get attention. Some people are like that. They're sick. Sick in the mind. They're evil. They are in the black dot.
Yes, Master.
Because the whole world is supporting Ukraine. And he is one of the two that does not support. So we can call that in the black dot.
Yes.
We cannot say that he's in the black region, the big region, but in the black dot.
Yes, Master.
Because the whole world now, compared to that, the whole world is in the white region, and he's in the black dot.
Yes, Master.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, Master. Prime Minister Orban of Hungary insists his nation needs Russian oil. So the European Union has to make an exception to an oil embargo.
A ban on oil from Russia had been stalled for nearly a month because of objections from the EU leader with the friendliest relations with Vladimir Putin. Even at the start of the meeting, Hungary's recently re-elected Prime Minister Viktor Orban seemed opposed. President Zelensky's office released part of his speech when he joined the meeting by video link.
Finally, all quarrels in Europe must end. Internal disputes that only encourage Russia to put more pressure on you, on the whole of Europe. The sixth sanctions package must be agreed. It must be effective, including oil, to make Russia feel the consequences of what it's doing to Ukraine and the whole of Europe.
There was a breakthrough soon afterwards. The final sanctions package agreed. But this is not the original oil ban proposed by the European Commission. It's been watered down.
The European Union pledged to enforce an oil embargo against Russia late on Monday, an agreement in principle that solved a deadlock with Hungary and the toughest effort yet to sanction Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. For now, the deal exempts 10% of oil from the ban so that Hungary, as well as Slovenia and the Czech Republic, have access to a southern Russian pipeline. Hungary was the main holdout for a deal. All three countries said the fuel from that pipeline was difficult to replace.
But this seems not right for European Union solidarity.
Yeah.
Can Master please share her thoughts on this?
The European Union finally had to give in to his demands. He's in the black dot. So I don't need to tell you anything anymore.
Understand.
Yes, Master.
Yes, Master.
And the so-called patriarch of Russian Orthodox Christians, his name is Cherished. He is 100% supporting Putin, and he even praised Putin like God sent.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what Putin wants to be. Like, he wants to be like representing God or God himself even. He is another black dot.
Yes, Master.
Small black dot, they contribute to the black dot. And even then, Orban interferes because the world wants to sanction him as well for supporting and encouraging Putin to make war in Ukraine. He is supposed to be a spiritual leader. He should know better.
Yes,
He
Master.
encourages Putin and call him God sent for what? My God, don't they have any shame or they have no education or anything? I think they're just a bunch of robbers.
Yes.
And happen to sit on top, that's all. Oh my God, one sits on top of the secular throne and the other sits on top of the religious throne. Yeah, get together like a band. And the other gangsters as well. Sometimes gangsters, you are lucky, no? Just like sometimes in some countries, in this old times, some rebel just rises up and then kicks out the king and then sits on top of that himself. And now you can see why I told you Orban is one in the black dot
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
against the whole good world, good European Union.
Yes.
And there are, I think, one or two more. They're all in the black dot. EU wanted to sanction him, this so-called patriot, and then Orban jumped in to interfere, make some deal or something. So that the so-called patriot got off the hook.
Yes.
They're all together. They're a whole band, whole gang.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Master.
It's not the first time that Orban is against the rest of Europe. I remember when there was a big refugee crisis from Syria, and people walked miles and miles with children and no luggage, nothing much. They arrived in Europe, but they have to pass Hungary. One of the routes is to pass Hungary.
Yeah.
And then they just wanted to pass by. They didn't even want to go to Hungary. And Orban ordered police at the border and then ordered soldiers to come and build a big fence to stop them. And it was winter, and they have nothing. There was no tents, no infrastructure for them at that border. So cruel.
Yes.
And they're pretending to protect Europe. Well, nobody needs them to protect. At that time, Germany opened its house for everybody to come in openly.
Yes.
And then Hungary just stopped them like that. It was winter at that time, I remember. So nasty, so cruel. So now you believe me that he's one in the black dot.
Definitely.
Yes,
You look at his face and you know, very stone cold.
Yes.
Whatever in the name of national, whatever it is all BS. There's no love, no heart.
No, that's true.
That's why it's one of the black dot group, one in the black dot.
Yes.
Yes, Master.
Okay, now you know.
Another thing, Secretary General of NATO, Stoltenberg, says that the West have to brace for the long-haul war in Ukraine.
We have to be realistic and realize that this may last for a long time, for many months, for even years. And that's the reason why we need also to be prepared for long haul.
This is a negative prediction. This is not very positive at all.
No, it's not. But he's negative himself. You can see it in his face.
Yes. Also.
You know, you don't have to look through the soul. You can see in the face. He's one of the ones in the black dot as well. In the beginning, remember, he just kind of almost didn't want to have anything to do with Ukraine.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Then afterwards, people pressure him, and then he put all NATO countries in alert mode.
Yes.
But still had nothing to do with Ukraine. It looked like he didn't want to have it all.
That's right.
Looked like he wanted Ukraine to just fend for himself alone, live or die.
Yes, that's true.
And now still that kind of attitude.
Yes, exactly.
What for he has to make his hands dirty, yeah? It's not his country.
Yes.
He's safe, he always get paid and has everything he wants.
That's right.
As a top leader of a mighty army organization, he doesn't care if the neighbor dies or leaves or is raped or torture or murder or houses burned down and 14 million refugees. He wants to prolong the war. He wants people to suffer. He couldn't care less. The more Ukraine suffer, the more other neighbors want to join. Several other neighbors also thinking of joining NATO, not just Finland and Sweden. Finland and Sweden have already officially applied.
Yes.
And other neighbors also seem to think in that direction already. I read in the news.
Right.
The more Ukraine suffers, the more people are scared. And the more people are scared, the more they will join NATO and he'll be more mighty and look more powerful.
Oh, gosh.
All allies agree that NATO enlargement has been a great success.
Oh, I just look at his attitude, his body language, his face, and I feel sick already. No matter what excuses he makes, no use.
Yes, Master.
Yeah, you have power, you have many people, and you see your neighbor being beaten right in front of you, and you just do nothing.
Yes.
Just talk big. Let the neighbor suffer so that other neighbors can come to you begging for protection.
Oh, that's so ugly.
This guy is evil also, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Just all these strategies, all politically motivated, all power, greed, and cruelty.
Yes,
Master.
Cruelty in this guy, passive cruelty.
That's right.
Just like in the beginning, Biden wants Ukraine to lose.
Yes.
On one hand, he say Putin is a killer. On the other hand, couldn't care less whom he killed. And just because it looks like they're against Putin, but they are together with Putin. You don't understand this. Do you understand it?
Yes.
The way they do things is supporting, just to make an advantage for Putin. We want to show the world all the facts about the war. It is not political. It is very spiritual. because if people understand the war and the consequence and the unfairness thereof, they will be leaning toward the positive side, the righteous side. So in that case, they will be on the side of the positive power instead of the negative power, the good instead of the evil. So if they are leaning toward the positive side, they will be, of course, in the positive direction, and it's good for them.
Yeah.
And if they are misled and supporting the negative power, evil power, just like Putin and the gangs, then they will be slipping down into the negative direction. That's very bad for them.
I understand, Master.
So what we're doing is also very spiritual. Apart from we are doing it because we feel sorry for the world or for the victims of the war, for example. But it has also a spiritual aspect, and it will affect people also spiritually. So you can see, whoever supports Russian gangs and even the so-called Orthodox patriarch, you can see they are in the black dot.
Yes.
Because the way Russia, the gangs, and that's comprised of all these armies, go in and even steal people underwear like that, and then raping even boys of 11 years old and kids. How would the world want to shake hands with Putin, even if he's still alive, or with one of his gang members?
Yeah, true.
So dirty, yucky. You worry about contamination, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Such a bloody hand, bloody and filthy. How would the world even support such a person or his activities in Ukraine?
Yes, Master.
So if anybody would even want to shake hands with it means coordinating with it, with this kind of person, then you must know it's the same gang in a different location, that's all.
Yes, Master.
Oh, just like gangsters. They have their subordinates, they have their co-gangsters everywhere in different countries.
Yes.
For drugs and human trafficking, they have their agents everywhere doing bad things.
Yes,
Master.
So if you can see a person who looks like your neighbor, but he's dealing with drugs, then you know he's an agent of these international drug gangs.
Yes, Master.
Or children or human trafficking, then you know they're just agents of an international crime organization.
Yes, Master.
I guess I'm getting myself in more trouble now, but I don't care. I have to say what I have to say.
Yes, Master.
Ukraine still can win, and all the land will come back to them. It should.
Yes.
Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр України Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут. Наша команда набагато більше. Збройні сили України тут. Найголовніше – наш народ, народ нашої держави тут. Захищаємо Україну вже 100 днів. Перемога за нами. Слава Україні! Героям слава!
You know, when Ukraine says that it will be fighting to regain its territories, it means that Ukraine will be fighting until it gains all its territory back. So it doesn't mean anything else. It's about our sovereignty, about our territorial integrity, it's about our independence.
You don't encourage robbers if you can control them. This is the whole world united, the whole of Europe, the whole NATO. Everybody against these gangsters, so they have to take them down by any means.
Yes.
Otherwise, they will continue to harm other neighbors.
That's right.
Yes.
They threatened Moldova and Poland already. And before that, of course, they threatened Finland and Sweden. Don't you dare go to NATO.
Yes, Master.
They threatened France, and they threatened UK also, Great Britain. And maybe they threatened somebody else that is not printed in the newspaper. We will make a list or something. Oh, terrible, I'm telling you. And how can anybody still support him? Support that kind of mentality and that kind of murderous action?
Right, Master.
Lower than low-life action. I hope the world understands. I mean, those people who still support Putin or who still do not understand the scenes behind the war in Ukraine.
Yes.
Normally, Putin says this is a special military operation, but recently I saw in the news that he said that he will find new loving homes for the orphans caused by my war. Now he says, it's my war. I saw that in the news. Stealing people's children and making it look like a charity. If he did not make war, how would these children become orphans?
That's right. Exactly.
No, it's just in Russia also, everybody has become old and his army is dying, refusing to fight, defecting or running away.
Какой моральный дух в подразделении?
Подавлен. Очень много человек сбежало. Я вообще против Путина, я за него не голосовал ни разу в жизни.
Так зачем ты поехал? Ты не мог сбежать, поднять тревогу?
Поднимали этот вопрос, сказали срок выгрозить. Другим советую сюда не соваться вообще. Оставить эту землю и все, и жить спокойно, самим у себя.
Мужики обращаются там сейчас на технике, еще там с автоматами, с оружиями. Бросайте это все, технику, оружие, все свои силы, уходите также на границу, бегите, стойте там, я не знаю. Хоть вас сами не выпускают, стойте просто, сдавайтесь в плен, будете живими.
Ще один наслідок деморалізації серед окупантів – дезертирство, яке дедалі частіше стає масовим. Дехто тікає з війська просто дорогою до України.
Я вообще не поддерживаю эту операцию, эту войну. Зачем, для чего? Там Журавлев, многие просто бегут. Все люди, они все, даже вооруженных сил, они все против.
So now he's trying to get the new children to grow up to become killers.
Yes.
Yeah, to make up for the loss in Ukraine. And talking, sugar-coated like that. Oh, so sickening. Yeah, only devils would do this kind of immoral and shameless thing, knowing nothing of virtues and principles. Normal humans would not do this.
Yes, right.
Just a normal human, not to talk about virtuous human, a religiously devout person or spiritual practitioner, nothing. Normal people outside, street sweeper or even commercial shop workers would not do, they will feel shame, they would know shame.
Yes.
That's why President Zelensky or Ukraine should not give any land to Russia, because what for you live under this kind of devil, dictator, bloodthirsty warmonger, huh?
Exactly.
True.
How would anybody have the heart to put your citizens into this kind of system?
Yes, Master.
Hung by his wrists and put in stress positions, Alexander Guz, a former Ukrainian military draftee, says he was tortured by Russian soldiers, and while his scars are fading, the memories of what happened to him are not. They put a bag over my head and then began beating me, he says. I was so severely beaten, I lost consciousness. Kremlin-backed forces seized control of his southern Ukrainian hometown of Kherson in the early days of its invasion. Since then, Moscow's grip on the city of nearly 300,000 has only tightened, with Kherson now an oppressive dystopia where allegations of torture and disappearances are widespread. You feel constantly under threat that Russians will come and take you away, he says. A bunch of volunteers in the city were already taken by the Russians, and we don't know what happened to them. Every so often, video emerges from Kherson of Ukrainian civilians resisting Russia's occupation, only to be met with violence.
It's not just a piece of land.
Yes, true.
So maybe that's why Putin and the gangs know it. That's why they bomb everywhere. They try to kill all the Ukrainians, as many as possible, or scare them away so that they just take the land. And only the pro-Russian stay.
Oh.
God, sickening.
then they will use that as a base to continue advancing further into other countries in Europe. In the beginning, people were afraid of him, remember?
Yes.
Afraid of him and his gang, and did not dare do anything. The oil and the gas seal their mouths, seal their hearts, and seal their virtues, moral and principles. And now, finally, they got it. They got it together, and they banned the import of Russian oil into Europe.
EU leaders have given the green light to some of the toughest sanctions against Russia so far. They've agreed to ban most of the oil they receive from Russia.
This is very important. Thanks to this, Council should now be able to finalize a ban on almost 90% of all Russian oil imports by the end of the year.
Most of the countries banned that, except Hungary, Orban, for example. But I also have to say that the Europeans did a good thing. You know, it's a lot of sacrifice for them.
Yes.
Suddenly, they have to go without comfort. Cheap gas, they probably could not manage yet, but oil, they already agreed to ban, except Orban and two more.
Right.
So most of the European countries already banned the import of Russian oil. This is a lot of help.
Right, yes.
Because without enough money, Russia has to somehow kill its ambition or limit its ambition. I just hope so.
Yes.
And the people will understand more and more about Russia's brutal war in Ukraine, so they probably will not support it. And everybody will have some way to minimize the size of Russia's influence or friendship. I have to praise Europe for being so courageous and morally fit, okay, at least to some point, that they even cut down the oil from Russia to protest and also to douse the fire in Ukraine. They try their best.
Yes, Master.
Well, the best is that they accept Ukraine immediately and let them go into NATO.
Yes.
I mean, it's not for fighting, but if they join NATO, then they don't have to fight. Because, you know, the snakes, they know each other.
Right.
They don't want to touch each other. But they don't want to do that. I don't know why either. I don't know what stops them. I don't know what slowed them down to bring Ukraine into the EU and into NATO. Okay, so now they do the second best, you know, sanction here, sanction there, continue sanctioning. So maybe that helps because the experts say that Russia's economy is crashing down now. They can trade. They have also advantages. They can trade land for soldiers or for sanctions even, because right now Russia continues to be sanctioned again and again, newly even. When I say trade in land for sanctions, that means if Russia doesn't willingly give back the land to Ukraine, then we have to use that. Like, if they are willing to return all the land to Ukraine, then the West will relieve the sanctions on Russia.
Yes, I understand. Yes, Master.
We can exchange that way, so Ukraine still has some leverage.
That's right, Master.
So they can talk with Russia, they can exchange.
Yes,
Master.
It's not like Ukraine doesn't have any leverage, right?
Right.
True.
So we wish Ukraine all the best. We wish the war will end, so nobody has to be killed, nobody has to die or be wounded. 40,000 wounded Russian soldiers. That's a big number, no?
Yes, that's a lot.
No wonder their commanders just shot them. You know, they cannot carry all at the same time, you know, and the equipment as well. And when there's a choice, they prefer equipment than their wounded soldiers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That is the thing. That's how you are taught in communism. To disregard human life or emotion as the end will justify the means. Oh, God, what means? Or devil's means.
Yes.
And also, they broke the founding act with NATO because in 1990-something, they signed a pact like none of them should be building up armed forces in Europe.
Yes.
But Russia is doing it all alone.
Yes.
It broke everything, all the agreements, all the principles, all the treaties, and all the international rules, even war rules, not to talk about normal rules.
Yes.
Yeah, they just kill anybody at random.
here now, this is fresh brown dirt, and they've been using bulldozers that we saw in earlier imagery to slowly dig out these trenches. Around just the town of Mariupol, there are 3 mass graves, and I would say that they're ready for 5,000 bodies or more.
We see facts of torture. When we opened the mass graves with civilians, they were shot. Their arms were tied back their bodies. We have facts of sexual crimes against civilians, not only against women, and even against men, children, and old women.
He shot my mother right between her eyes. Убивали людей, катували, таке робили, Боже. Ми ставилися отак, на колінах, роздівали нас. Кого були зековські наколки.
In the aftermath of the Russian occupation, the open wounds of the alleged crimes committed against civilians are everywhere in sight.
Звірі. Це не армія. Армія не воює із дітьми і бабушками, а вони воюють.
Такі наші браття Росія, бачите, яке нам принесло. Горе.
National police teams are here to gather evidence of alleged war crimes against civilians.
Це черговий приклад злочину армії Російської Федерації. Вони не військові, не в територіальній обороні, ні зброї в них не було. Їх просто цивільних людей, яких вони бачили, вони їх розстрілювали на вулицях. Що прямо заборонено конвенцією і стосовно всіми міжнародно-правовими актами вчиняти такі злочини відносно цивільних людей.
They broke everything. So Russia is truly a real criminal in the whole world. It's truly the black side of the douse symbol.
Yes.
The whole black side of it. So I don't know what NATO and Europe are waiting for. At least protect your own people, you know, like Ukraine. Ukraine is your own.
Right.
Right.
They are us, you know. They are theirs. They are European. They are of NATO mentality.
Yes. Yes.
So it's their own people. At least protect them.
Exactly.
And deal with the bully.
That's right.
Yes.
But they did neither.
Yes.
Up to now, 3 months already. How many people died? How many people suffered under extreme agony already? NATO, if they only help their own members who pay them, who are supporting them, and not help those in need right in front of their eyes, suffering in front of their eyes, then it's worse than business. It's not just business. It's worse than business. And these kind of organization, mentality, or action have no ounce of merit in the eyes of heaven. If they're working in that non-compassionate principle, just working like business, it's worse than business. What's the difference between NATO and the gangster outside? Those organized criminals that threaten business people or some weaker people outside, extort them for money and threaten them. If they don't give them money, then they will be harmed by them or other gangsters. So what is the difference between NATO and these organized gangsters? This world. I'm telling you, if it's not hell, then it's what? In heaven, we have fair judgment.
Yes.
But in heaven, there's no judgment. There's no need. This world needs judgment, needs fairness, and we don't have it.
We are forever in awe of Benevolent Master's infinite care and compassion for humanity. Your presence is the lifesaver of our planet and our souls. May the positive power find its way to work through all people, thus protecting all the world's inhabitants, including the innocent animal people, from suffering. May we also be ever aware of the truly noble authority versus those who may lead us in a wrong direction and thus ensure a lasting peaceful society on earth. We wish beloved Master sound health and a restful heart while in the loving protection of all glorious goddesses. to hear a folktale relevant to some of today's world events from Supreme Master Ching, as well as her thoughts on the global leadership and the spread of new and strange infectious diseases that can be found even in fruits. Please tune in to Between Master and Disciples at a later date for the full broadcast of this conference. Also, for your reference, please check out the previous related Fly-In News or Between Master and Disciples conferences such as Fly-In News, treasure others' lives by making peace. Only peacemakers can go to heaven. There are no excuses for invading a country. Positive changes in the world in support of Ukraine. Representatives of the positive power are beneficial to humankind. The bigger you are in society, the humbler you should be. Forgiveness dissolves vengeance and brings world peace. World leaders must protect freedom and democracy through action. The entwinement of the positive and negative power between master and disciples. Governments worldwide must stand with Ukraine. Powerful countries must be courageous and help Ukraine. Heaven is aiding Ukraine in the war between good and evil. Supreme Master Ching Hai's thoughts on the urgent situation in Ukraine. The world left Ukraine to fight alone, inspiring good news in support of Ukraine. Big powers did not keep their promise to Ukraine. The united spirit of the Ukrainian people shines before the world. Ukraine's noble willpower is stronger than Russia's force. Two friends. To believe in humanity and goodness is to help each other.